Hello, and welcome all to episode 63 of the Spooky Spooky Horror Show podcast. I'm your host, Sean. I'm joined once again by Anthony. And Hello. As a reminder, this season's list was chosen solely based on the box art. We're going to be judging whether the film is as good or bad as the box art, and we're also going to be saying whether or not we even like the film. Today, we'll be reviewing and spoiling 2016's Plank Face.
Plank Face, people.
But before all that, remember, if you'd like to support us and the podcast on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, leave a comment. All that helps us with the algorithm and engagement.
Excellent.
If you prefer the audio experience, we are on all major podcast services. You can follow us, rate us. All of that will also help with visibility and charting. Links will be in the description, and usually there will be a QR code popping up that'll take you to a link tree with all of our links. Now, with that out of the way, Anthony, how has your week been?
The one time we can get to this question, I don't want to kill you for asking me. It has been an absolute delight to be in a shop that for a very long time feels like when I speak, someone actually cares enough to listen. I've had my first week at this new place, Botnik, and it's like the first time I've ever said out loud where I work on a fucking anything. I'm that impressed by them. They're already teaching me things I've asked to learn for like years now. I'm already starting to learn. They take care of their technicians and the fact that we're not standing around for 40 hours. If you're there for 40 hours and there's no business, you have a guarantee of at least 30 some odd hours that they give you. They're not going to let you go home dry and missing your bills and not be able to put food on the table. So, and I've just been keeping busy, dude. Like, legitimately right now, I'm pretty fucking sore. My back's killing me because I'm working and I haven't been used to that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But my week, for the first time in a long time, amazing. How about you there, bud?
I think since the last time we recorded,
it's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think was it all last week I was sick?
Last week? No. The week before that, your family was. Then you got yours.
Then I got
that was
sick.
Gonna happen. Yeah.
And
before that, I was up with my family. But yeah, you guys took forever to get it through, you guys. That just means I guess your immune system is better than theirs.
It's like, it took forever for me to get sick. I took care of my wife that got sick, and then after she started to get better, the kiddo got sick, so then I was taking care of him while he was sick, and then I got sick,
to happen.
And nobody was able to take care of me.
And then you would get them sick again if you did.
Yeah. Well, no, by that point we should have antibodies in our system from just being sick that you shouldn't get re-sick. But you know, the wife went back to work, so she wasn't home. Yeah. The kid isn't going to take care of me. If I'm bedridden, all that means is he's going to be like, well, I guess I don't have to do schoolwork.
Yeah, of course, all kids are going to think that.
You know, so I was like, all right, so I guess I'm just going to like fucking tough it out. So I was on a big regimen of NyQuil and DayQuil, and then I think ibuprofen.
Rest. Oh,
yeah. And I was lucky enough I never got a fever. He got a fever, the wife got a fever, and I was like, no, I'm gonna keep taking like Advil or ibuprofen. I don't remember which one specifically. So that I was like, I'm not letting a fever happen. So I never got the fever. But yeah, that's about it. Now I'm just going about backing up my Blu-ray and DVD collection. But yeah, all right, let's get into production facts. Plank Face was directed by Scott Schmier. Schmier?
I was just saying, that's a fucking name for you.
Schirmer? Skirmer? I apologize for if I butchered your name. I'm trying.
We don't do this
I'm reading it and I'm like, I don't fucking know. And it's written by Scott and Brian K. Williams. The film stars Nathan Barrett, Susan M. Martin, Bridget McCauley, Alyssa Winkler,
nice name,
and Ellie Church. That's all the real information I have on it. So Anthony, based on the box art, what were you expecting from this movie?
Oh God, everything that the box, now that I've watched it, everything that the box art showed me was exactly what I thought the movie would be. It was spot on. I think might have been the only movie so far spot on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could have found a better way to describe the movie than this really fucked up box art, to be honest.
Yeah, no, the box art looks really low quality. I picked it thinking it was going to like 100% suck ass, but would at least be like so bad.
So entertaining, no.
Like so bad that it's fun and you could just make fun of it the whole time.
The whole fucking time.
Honestly though, I didn't think the film was that bad, and I feel like the thumbnail actually does a disservice to the film. The only two characters on the box art are Plankface and Bunny. So it's implying that
there's only
they're
two
the
people?
central characters, but
not
that's
at
not
all.
the case. There is
No,
no
not at
special
all.
connection between the two of them, but like I'll explain a little bit more of that like later. Box art looked bad. Box art made it look like it was going to be dog shit. Then you watch it and you're like, hey, it's not that bad. But
I
then
can
it's
live
like
with it.
there's only two characters on the box art. It's
On the
Plankface
box
and
art,
Bunny,
there's a much. Yeah, I can see what you mean by that,
you know,
because
But,
there definitely
like,
was more people.
and it's like Bunny wasn't the important one. Why the fuck was she there? Like on the box art, like why not have all of them there? Why just have
I guess
her?
so.
But
What
yeah,
would be the significance of just her in it?
yeah, that's like at least if you did something, but I don't know. But all right, let's get into the plot. The film opens with Phil and Sarah in his car parked in the middle of the woods. I was gonna say that it's a young couple, but that would be me being way too generous because
What do you
they looked the type of young if they smoked like 30 packs of cigarettes a day for
They
about
look like they were
25 years.
in mid-20s.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They look like they're in their late 30s. I look younger than them. Okay. That's like, they look old. And I was like,
a
they
tattered
seem...
fucking baseball mitt. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So it's like, just watch it. I was like, ah. But the guy asks if she wants to know what he's always wanted to do. And I was immediately thinking it was going to be something super weird. But all
I
he
said
wanted
the
to do-
same thing with the way that was set up.
All he wanted to do was fuck on the hood of his car. That's it. That's not fucking weird.
She was like, really?
His girl tells him that it's not that weird because it's not. But
It's
word is that
not.
someone will see them, even though
Well,
they're
yeah.
in the middle of the woods, in
Fuck
the
it,
middle of
that's
the
the
night.
point.
Yeah,
That's the point
like-
of doing it on your hood.
Yeah,
You
but
don't do
she-
it in public just to do it in public. That's just dumb.
But she caves and tells him if he wants to get some on the hood of his car, he's gonna need to dance for it. So he goes out and he starts to do a striptease. It's very weird and he can't dance. So she
No.
decides to come out and show him how it's done. She gets out of the car. Is it just me or is her walk to the front of the car super weird? Like the ground didn't look
Yes.
uneven, but she looked
No,
like she was
she
crazy
looked
drunk
uneven.
and barely able to stand up.
But yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I saw.
She does her striptease. It's hot. He claims that she has an advantage in the striptease, which she clearly does.
All women do. No
Yeah.
one wants to see just Wang flying like a
Yeah.
fucking helicopter. It's not attractive.
And now they have sex. Well, now they begin to
They
have sex on
kinda
the hood
have-
of the car.
Yeah, we'll call that a 1.5, I guess. You know, like
Yeah.
it was a half.
This is the beginning where I was like, oh man, I commend them for showing like man ass here, because usually that's not something they show in any of these movies. It's just tits, ass, and vagina. Boy, was man ass like the least of the stuff that they were gonna show in this movie. Because what comes later, I was not expecting, like at all.
It's a movie
Because
and a half. Let me
we
tell
can
you.
say a little bit of it now.
Oh, we both gag. For us to gag, it's got to be something, and we
Yeah.
both and we didn't watch it together, people. He watched it like 2-3 weeks ago and told me about it. I just recently watched it a few days ago, had it happen, and then I go, that's what he was talking about.
Anthony and I kind of made a promise to us and everyone else that no more rape revenge films.
Oh God, yeah, this no.
I was not expecting there to be so much sexual assault in this movie. And it's only a woman is sexually assaulted once in this, but then
See,
the rest
that-
of the
yeah.
time the main actor is being sexually assaulted.
But in a different scene. That's where it's a sticky situation when you say that, because the opening one, I mean, that one that we watched was fucking graphic.
Yeah.
That had me like, I actually said, wait, can we change the movie? And you're like, we have to bear through, we have to grit and just get it done and never do it again.
Yeah.
This would be, I guess, considered a Cinemax version of that, but it still was there. And then there's the dude version of it, and it is an assault, but there are gonna be people be like, oh, that wasn't a sexual. It is an assault. He was not a very
said
willing
no.
participant in like
he
any
straight
of
up
it.
said no.
Yeah.
And the old lady put a shotgun in his face.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't beat him. They didn't, like, rape him in that aspect. But, like, he was still sexually assaulted.
And
Rigorously.
yeah, it happens a lot.
It's just not graphic to the extent where you're thinking,
Yeah.
like, you know, Law and Order SVU, you know, like, it's...
And honestly, that's the main reason where I was like, all right, we can still, because like if it was as bad as I Spit on Your Grave, then I
Oh my
probably would have been
God.
like, hey, let's just switch it to something else. Like maybe we'll cover Blood and Honey so that we can end up finally doing Blood and Honey 2, which is supposed to be a way better movie than the first
version.
one. Watching
Yeah,
it,
this
was
wasn't
like,
that
it's
bad.
bad, it's uncomfortable, but it's not.
Oh,
it's
still
not that
doable.
bad. Even
It's explainable.
even the sexual assault towards the beginning that's coming up in a little bit, even that one's like not as bad. I have more of an issue with how the scene played out than the scene, what's happening in the scene per se. It's just one of those, like, I do want to say, like, upfront, like,
Oh, we're
there's
not
gonna
going
be
to
a
leave
lot
you
of
in
it.
there blindly. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to leave you in
there-
blindly and then find out, like, someone had, like, an incident and it triggered them. That's just not going to
Yeah.
happen. No.
But so them showing a man's ass, where I'm like, oh man,
Several
you know,
times.
commendable. They show a dude's ass. Like I said, it's usually just like a girl's tits, pussy, and ass, and
Yeah.
like, that's what they show. And it's like, oh, look, good for them. They're fucking made in 2016, and even here they're like, you know, we
I
can show
think I
some man
said
ass.
the same. I think I said the same thing about.
And then later
about
it
the
gets
movie
like way
for the
worse. You're
time
like,
period.
Oh, okay. Like we're
I think
here
I
now.
said- yeah.
They begin having sex, and this big ass, gross looking mountain man comes up from behind with
Paul
the
Bunyan.
signature plank face. Plank on his face that Anthony is quick to point out that it's not a plank.
Not a plank.
It's
It's a
bark.
piece of bark.
It's a
It's
pretty
a fur
thick
piece of bark.
It's a pretty big piece
Yeah.
of bark then, like thick.
He looks like he cut Groot's face off and put it on him like Hannibal
Yeah.
Lecter. Like, it's not exactly plank.
that dude who will call, I think in the credits they call him Old Daddy, but I'll just call him OG Plank Face.
Yeah, something like that. But they have a very weird, I guess, language that they made. Or
No,
something
they're
for
speaking
this.
fucking gibberish. Don't say, oh, it's a weird language. They're speaking fucking gibberish.
Yeah, how
It's
do you know
like-
it's not some dialect that we don't know it is? I don't know nothing.
Yeah, that
was
where
some
is that
weird
coming?
shit, though.
Like, that's
Crazy
not a
bitch.
dialect. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, what are they, fucking minions? Banana. Like no.
Banana.
Yeah, like, it was so stupid. It was so dumb. OG Plankface comes up, stabs the dude in the back, which
Yeah.
makes him spit blood up all over his lady friend, which would not happen. That's not how that works. She sees him and grabs the knife from the OG Plankface's like side, and as Plankface is about to like crack his axe down on her, she stabs him in the stomach, pushes him away, and runs away. This is when I noticed that they were just having sex.
Yeah.
And I never saw her pull her panties up, but everything is all up and covered. As she's running away, OG Plankface pulls the knife out, I think of his stomach, and then chucks it at the woman running away. Hits her, she falls to the ground and continues to try to crawl to get away from him. He comes up
I love
behind
that
and
this is the
smashes the
shit
X
that-
down on her face. And we cut to the
Like,
title card. Blank face.
I love that it just makes it to her. Like, it just magically gets to her.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's been doing it for a really long time. I don't really know.
Yeah, they're not. Like, the whole thing, all of this is so fucking vague.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like they had an idea for it, and I
Not
like
bad.
I get it.
Not a
And,
bad
like,
one.
We'll get into it as it gets further in, but like at this
Excuse me.
point it's only a couple of minutes in, and they're kind of just setting up that like this guy is Plankface, but then like he's mortally wounded or whatever. So it's like,
Very
that's
clearly
weird
gonna
that
die.
like that's like at the beginning of a Halloween movie, Michael Myers gets stabbed and you're like, it's like really bad, and he's like and you're like, wait, we still have like an
The
hour and a
whole
half
movie
left
to
of
go.
this movie. Like, what is this shit? But we get the title card, and then we're shown a photo of a
Excuse me.
low-rent Jared Padalecki.
Dude, we said yes. You said the same thing. We were like, oh look, it's fucking Jared Padalecki, but Timo.
Yeah, just no muscles.
Just Timo.
You know what's the funniest part? I checked. This dude that looks like Jared Padalecki was in Supernatural.
As a stunt double.
No, he was a
Oh
character.
my
in it.
god.
Yeah,
He was a character?
Yeah, he
Who'd he
was a
play?
character in one of them. I don't remember what episode, but I was looking. I was like,
The
oh,
long
fuck,
lost
I
brother
kinda
of
remember
him?
that.
Like,
It's at this point we get a photo of low rent Jared Padalecki and a bleach blonde woman for no reason. They're just shown. I know that they're going to become, or at least he becomes, the main character of the film, but I don't think at the time that we're at right now that there's any reason for us to be seeing a photo of them when you could just show them arriving. We don't need this
they're
static
coming
photo
up very soon.
So it's like, I don't know why we're seeing a photo of them that's slowly dissolving into them drive. Just show them driving. That's all you got to do. This new young couple, Max and Stacy, are driving through the woods and pull over on the side of the road to begin their hiking excursion. The scenery is beautiful. That's the thing about this movie so far. There hasn't been anything egregiously bad about the film yet.
It's just so confusing.
Yeah, the girls have been reasonably attractive. The killer so far seems opposing, and the cinematography's been okay.
Decent for the moment.
So it's like, so far, everything is fine. This new couple make it to the ridgeline, and Max is playing cute and coy and like telling her like, I'm gonna beat you across the land bridge or whatever. And they just go running off to like wherever they're planning on hiking to. They go running off in a way that makes them look like fucking children.
Well, they're fucking, dude. You gotta be. They're having fun. They're enjoying life.
Sure.
It's not. They are not just withered away husk of a soul like us. Okay.
Yeah.
They are still optimistic.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
don't blame them.
That's gonna disappear pretty fast.
just like it happened to us. They're gonna
like
rip that
life.
Band-Aid off. They're gonna rip that Band-Aid off.
As they're crossing this land bridge, they begin to slow down as Max sees another dude walking towards them. They exchange pleasantries, and then Max stops fully to watch as his girlfriend passes this dude, and the guy turns around and just stares at her. Max makes sure to give him that "don't fucking look at my girl" look. And then they just continue on their way, walking deeper and deeper into the woods. Now,
further
maybe,
and further
again,
and further.
This is just me, a simple city boy that just spent his summers in upstate New York hanging out in the woods.
Okay.
But I feel like parking your car on the side of a road, not in a parking lot, not by a ranger station or a base camp,
Just a random spot. I would never do it.
just on the side of the road. And then disappearing into the forest is, not the best of ideas.
Of ideas? Yeah. You would think one would say, if there's alarms there, maybe I should hike my way into the woods instead of parking as close to the woods as possible.
Yeah, like,
Don't you talk about that logic.
Were they planning on spending like a couple of days or at least the night out there?
Well, it did look like it. They had a tent. They were good to go.
So it's like, aren't they worried that their shit's gonna get stolen?
I said the exact same thing. I said the exact same thing. But I mean, to them, no.
And it's like, it's not even like you could be like, oh, well, we're the only ones out here. You literally just saw someone walking towards the area that you just were walking from, which means for all you know,
they're
like,
coming
he could
back
just go and steal your car.
somebody.
So after all this, like, you go back to your car and your fucking car's gone. Now you're like, well, how the fuck are we getting home? Like, it was weird. They find their camping spot and set up base camp. She's building the tent while he sets up the fire. He got the fire going, but he didn't clear the area. He didn't put up like rocks around in a circle to keep the fire contained.
No.
He just
like
built the fire.
It was
the
like
fire
a
on
loose
top
one.
of dry leaves.
Yeah.
I feel like
This was definitely not a guide to surviving in the woods movie. It was definitely not one of those situations.
Again, I may be just a simple city boy, but even I know you should put something around to make sure that fire stays where it needs to be. You don't want to start a forest fire while you're, making whoopee in your tent.
No, no, really?
You know what I mean? Like,
you don't think
know.
that you should have burned down the whole fucking forest just on the sake of you to make a nut? Like, come on.
She continues setting up their tent, getting all their sleeping stuff set up, while he goes walking around for sticks and twigs and everything else to keep this fire going. It seems like he's walking a lot further away than he actually was, because he's yelling back to her, but then she's like whisper talking to him. So I was just like, what is the actual distance that they're supposed to be away from each other?
Maybe they're just embellishing.
While collecting sticks, he notices a woman behind the tree watching them in a rabbit mask.
Yeah. This lady's fucking great, let me tell you.
Before he can say anything, the dude that passed him on the trail grabs him from behind and begins choking him out.
Yeah, the randomness behind that.
He wants to talk to his lady friend, aka Rape, without
Just
him
wanna
giving him
talk
the
to
stink
her.
eye. Max passes out, and then
he
comes,
did black out. Forgot about that.
Yeah, but for a short time, I don't even know how long. A big problem with this movie is fucking passage of time.
There's no timeline. Yes.
Yeah.
It feels like it was like fucking like 3
days
if you're lucky. Yeah.
So Max passes out and then begins to come to as he sees the rabbit lady crawling closer to him. At this point, because we don't really know anything about anyone, I was wondering if maybe the rabbit girl was the chick from the beginning. She's not. Spoiler alert, the other chick is dead. But I didn't know because nothing's really set up. It's kind of one of those things where
there's
like
no backstory.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it could have been her because like you don't watch him kill her, you know?
No.
So
and it leaves
like,
you with a lot of questions with some of the scenes in this.
Bunny Girl runs away as he like fully wakes up, realizing that his girlfriend is screaming as this guy is just like grunting away. And then instead of running up to stop him, he slowly creeps up on this dude so he can finish inside his girl. It's very weird. If your wife is in the middle of being raped and you wake up to it, are you gonna stealthily like slink over to it, or are you gonna like run and jump on top of this dude?
I feel you're reading further into it, but you are right. I wouldn't probably be that calm in any way, shape, or form.
Because here's the thing.
It's getting done. But
Here's
I
the thing.
feel like he did that so he didn't alert him.
You're
but in the same way,
you're walking on dry leaves.
You gotta be heard anyway. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
yeah,
you just
there's
run
no
up,
sneaky
tackle the guy.
there. Yeah,
it's it was so fucking weird. So while he's sneaking up, she's still fighting back. As the boyfriend gets closer, the rapist grabs the girl Stacy by the head and smashes it into the ground, knocking her out with one hit. This happens as the boyfriend picks up a rock and cracks this dude in the head. Yet the rock to the head doesn't seem to full on knock this dude out.
Yeah,
a rock that he has to hold with two hands.
I was like, don't hit him with that big of a rock. I was like, you should probably hit him with a medium-sized one so you can grip it better.
Yeah, instead he picks up a rock, two hands, and
whack! Fucking boulder. He picks up his damn boulder.
The guy, he hits the ground and then just like looks up and turns around all smugly and says, I thought we had an understanding. I wasn't hurting anyone. I wasn't gonna kill anyone.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
What are you talking about?
Weird shit. Yeah,
fucking. It's like I don't know. This is where it's like I don't understand the story that the filmmaker is trying to tell.
To relay to us, it makes no sense, and they just kept going with it. So it just kept getting weirder.
So Max takes the knife off the rapist's ankle and tells him to turn around. Reluctantly, the guy turns around, and Max whispers into his ear, "You like raping people?" and then shoves this knife deep inside his butthole.
So happy. I was like, oh, just rape him with that.
Like, yeah,
just do it. Just do it.
Fucking sodomize the shit out of that rapist. Teach him a fucking lesson. And he's just twisting the knife around like crazy.
I was like,
and we're only 15 minutes into this movie.
This is yes, and it's like a 2-hour movie if I'm not mistaken.
And there's already been 2 murders,
way too much
rape,
stuff,
and then a rapist being sodomized with a knife in the butt. The whole time this is happening, Bunny is watching from the distance. I don't know if you saw it, but I feel like when he pulled the knife out of the butthole,
it looked like something came out.
I know it was probably just a leaf. I know. But this dude did just have a knife in a guy's butthole, and when he yanked it out, it looked like he pulled out a piece of poop and it just went flying. I'm sure it was a leaf because all of this is happening on just like dry leaves. But the fact that like he spun it around and then he went like that, it's something like came out with it, and I'm sure it was a leaf, but for a second I went, did they just fling poop? Like, what happened? What movie are we watching right now?
Yeah. Flinger.
So yeah. He pulls the knife out of this dude's asshole, then he slits the rapist's throat, and as he bleeds out and dies, Max gets cracked in the back of the head with, I think, a stick, and then wakes up tied up, shirtless, and gagged.
And I'm pretty sure the stick was like it looked like it could have been a club, but the heavier end the chick was holding, and the smaller end they hit it with, I was like, why wouldn't you have turned that around? I don't know. They could have made some realism to this. It made no sense.
He struggles to get loose, but it's just not happening. Bunny wakes up all seductively in bed. I can't really call it a bed though, because she was just covered in sheets laying on the floor.
Yeah, they're just sheets.
She slinks around, keeping an eye on him, and then runs outside. It's actually pretty hilarious watching him try to slink out of the cabin through the front door, but not being able to like really go anywhere. It's at this point though that, you know, the injured Plankface like rolls out from behind a curtain
thing,
right?
Yeah,
it didn't
you don't
like
notice it until
anyway.
He rolls. No,
yeah,
it was like a sheet over it. Like I was very confused on that too, but like you don't notice it until he pops out from it.
Yeah, until like he rolls out. Now here's the funniest part. He was hidden better in this scene than that ghost corpse body bag thing was in Uninvited Guests.
Oh, I know.
Didn't even notice that motherfucker there in this movie, but in that movie, like, there's a fucking body bag over there. What the fuck?
There's a body bag. It's very easy to see.
He's coughing a lot. I'm guessing the stab wound from the beginning of the movie was a lot worse than it was, but we don't know how much time has passed from that to this. For all we know, this happened like months ago,
hours
and
ago.
It's just like a festering wound, or it could have happened fucking like earlier that night or whatever.
Yeah.
Max mean mugs the guy. Plankface just kind of looks at him indifferently. All you can really see is like one eye, so you can't really tell what the hell's going on.
And he's a massive bearded dude, so there's not much like expression you can see.
Then OG Plankface passes out as Bunny comes back in with some other chick that looks like she's wearing a gross ass dime store prom dress. Through the gag, Max is asking for his girlfriend, like where she is, prom dress, who is actually called the Bride. I think that's what her title was in IMDb. And I think at the end, they actually tell you who everyone is. The Bride tells him to be quiet, mumbling, asking what they did to him. The Bride just smacks the shit out of him a bunch as Bunny is rubbing up on him. It's super weird. The whole thing is just weird. And then the girls start giggling, and this goes on for a minute.
And gibberish is given back and forth. It doesn't make sense. There's no context.
They start licking and sexually assaulting Max, licking and biting on his nipple.
And they're all so dirty.
He headbutts the Bride, only to have Bunny throw him down on the ground, and the Bride? Yeah, it was the Bride. Just starts punching him in the dick.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Like just straight pummeling his dick and balls. It looks like it hurts.
It looks like it, yeah.
He starts choking in pain, and then she starts rubbing it just to start punching him in the dick again.
Talk about fucking edgy, man. What the fuck?
What the fuck is going on? Bunny comes to his rescue, but old and injured Plankface begins puking up vegetable stew. I'm guessing from context clues that Plankface is supposed to be like their protector or something, and he's dying. But Bunny
But I'm gonna guess they were fucking him too. Like I don't understand the dynamics of this.
I think he just fucks everyone. That's just
is the old dynamic. Woman and him the father. Like I don't
no clue, because like Granny never tries to fuck him.
No, but she does stroke him. She violently strokes him so he can get hard.
So I think the whole point is like the girls are there for his pleasure, and then possibly also to get pregnant. I don't know how that would work out. Maybe they eat him afterwards. I don't fucking know.
Well, they eat the fucking big guy
because they don't have anyone to protect them, because the old dude, like the original one, is like hurt. I'm assuming that because Bunny saw Max defend Stacy and kill that dude, that she's thinking that he can take the place of OG Plankface.
So they like chose this dude.
Now the Bride runs over to OG Plankface and puts her titty in his mouth. I don't know what that's supposed to be about.
I don't know. Is it supposed to give him like, or if it's like, is that powers that help him heal?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
I was like, is it supposed to be something like Mama Milky or something? Like she's breastfeeding?
That's what I mean.
But she isn't.
Is he
pregnant,
thirsty?
So she wouldn't.
No, you don't know.
Milk?
You don't. No, if you continue to do it, they never dry up.
Yeah.
If you never stop it, so if you're one of those milk maidens and you know that's a fetish, if you're a milk maiden, you only need to be pregnant once and not even have the child, and you just never let your ducts close. If you can pump, if they pump every day of their life, they'll never stop.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe he was breastfeeding or something. I don't know. It's just, it's all gross. It's all weird. It's what you'll hear a lot from us
For the
in this.
whole entire movie.
That it's weird. It's just weird, you know? Like,
It's just not something that
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never
I don't
encountered the oddness of this.
Max manages to get the knife that he used to kill the dude and stick up the butthole of, and he cuts his hands free, then makes short work of the twine holding his legs together. OG Plankface dies, and the women begin to cry as Max gets up and runs the fuck out of there, just to fall on his ass as soon as he gets outside. Brother, you need to watch
Didn't go
where
very
you're
far.
running.
Yeah, it doesn't go very far.
He's stopped like almost immediately in his tracks by an old lady holding a beat up shotgun. I don't know.
You mean to tell me you mean to tell me your young vital ass can't outmaneuver some fucking old witch in the woods? Like, come on, man.
It's so fucking weird, dude. It's so fucking weird. She leads him back to the cavern, muttering nonsense stuff like skibbity toilet and shit like that. It's so fucking. It's just.
What was that? Skibbity toilet? What?
Skibbity toilet. Yeah, it's a thing. My son is very happy that news came out that Michael Bay is possibly making a Skibbity toilet movie.
I don't even know what that is.
I know you're old and not really on the internet, so
no.
It's like, but yeah, it's a weird fucking thing.
Skibbity toilet.
And way too long to try to fucking explain. You would think that she's possibly Cajun with the way everything that they're saying is so fucking nonsensical.
Oh, the dialect.
But it's like, oh, it's like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
And it doesn't really help that the subtitle tells me what they're saying, not what the fuck it means.
She's saying dusty dum 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 dum. It's like,
yeah,
oh, that's awesome. You mashed the keyboard to create like a thing that's possibly what she's saying. It's so dumb. Like, you mean to tell me that these grown people completely forgot language? All of them?
That's what I mean. It has to be some
like,
sort of dialect or something.
It
just doesn't.
But then how is it a dialect if
there's no backstory behind it?
Yeah, it's not like they're a family. No. Like, they're a family by kidnapping. So like
that's an assumption. That's an assumption that everyone there is against their will and they're not family. Like, I just don't.
Yeah,
there's not much going on.
The whole thing is just, I don't fucking know. Again, it's fucking weird. That's what it comes down to. It's fucking weird. Bunny throws a bag over Max's head and ties his arms behind his back. Granny begins heating up a nail because now I guess it's torture time. They're gonna break him down so that he can become the new Plankface. Granny shuffles over and bends down to nail those feet to the ground.
Well, what? And I'm sorry.
It could have been two if he didn't do what he was told.
I know.
But did you notice that the music in this scene makes absolutely no sense? Like, none whatsoever.
I don't remember.
This is just another movie where it's like, Dad, we got music. You know, it's like, just put the music in.
This might have been the scene. Maybe I said maybe they're getting music for free, like it's one of those no rights ones.
Max is begging for them to stop, but Granny smacks him in the back of the head and tells him to stop. Meanwhile, the bride lifts the head sack up enough to kiss him while Bunny is holding him, nestling him from the back. I'm at this point wondering where his girlfriend is. Is she still knocked out in the woods? Did she get up and
I assume that they killed her, but it doesn't say anything. They don't mention anything.
We're not told anything. Because I'm assuming it was Bunny that knocked out Max and then brought him back to the cabin. I don't know how her tiny ass managed to drag his ass through the woods without him waking up. So then I'm like, did Sarah end up waking up and she was alone, possibly next to like the corpse of this guy, and then
ran?
Left? Yeah, I don't know. Like, we don't see anything that happens in
so
that
many
area.
unanswered questions.
Standing there in anguish, looking at his newly destroyed foot, Max watches as these women begin cutting up the now dead Plankface and throwing it into a pot. They're gonna eat him. Like, that's gonna happen.
We're not wasting anything, apparently, with that.
Nope. They begin cooking up OG Plankface as Max is just sitting there, resigned to whatever's gonna happen to him, when Bunny goes up to him to feed him. He was way too willing to eat this dude. Granny yells at him.
I don't remember him being that willing to eat them.
At first, he was gonna, really? And then he realized, and he was like, no.
I shouldn't be cannibalized and things. That's real fucking too late there, pal.
Granny yells at Bunny to stop, and she runs away. Granny then checks him out, then goes back over to OG Plankface and cuts something else off the man. I hope that she didn't cut off his penis to feed to him, because she's holding a lot in her hand.
I didn't see that.
We aren't fully shown.
Now you make me think
what it is.
Now you're making me think it is.
Yeah, but we're not fully shown what it is. So I'm not 100% sure that it wasn't at this point both cock and balls.
Dick.
I'm pretty sure that it's testicles, but I don't know if she also cut off the cock, because those nuts were fucking huge.
They were a little bit non-human-esque.
Yeah, I think it's yeah. So because I'm trying to think when Granny goes over to him, all I see in her hands is the nuts.
Balls.
Yeah,
That's all I saw.
I'm guessing all
balls.
she did was cut his nuts off.
Yeah.
He won't eat it, because who would eat raw, like, human genitals? Like, no one's gonna do that. But Granny says that she's gonna put another nail in his foot unless he eats it. And he goes, okay, I'll eat it.
You run the risk of it. I was gonna say, listen, put a nail in my fucking foot. I'm not eating those balls. But then you have to run the risk of running out of feet to put the nails in. So what would you do if you just continue to not do it? That would have been a movie. That would have been a movie.
I don't think they would do anything to his genitals besides
they
fucking
need it.
Punch the shit out of it. Because they want it.
They want that dick.
He says, fine, I'll eat it. And Bunny feeds him one of the nuts. And I couldn't.
I almost threw up. I literally almost threw up. It was to the point where the wife almost kicked me off the couch because she thought I was gonna hack up on the fucking couch. Like,
yeah,
it was
this entire scene made me want to vomit.
The sound.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the sound,
the crunch,
and then
the pop. Oh my god.
Yeah. I was running on a treadmill. Doing
this dude's like, I was on a treadmill and I almost fucking fell. Because I almost
fell and vomited because it came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Oh God, no!"
And what got me most was the fucking sound, that crunching and the pop sound, like it's a fucking like a cherry tomato in his mouth. Oh, that's so nasty.
What got me was after the crunch and pop, when he started vomiting, and it was shooting from between her fingers as she's trying to hold his mouth.
Oh my God. Why would you remind me of that? Bro, it's so chunky. Bro, that got me too. That was the point. That was the one I was gagging, and that is when they thought I was gonna throw up on the fucking couch. Yes, because she's holding it to get force in his mouth, but it's like coming out. Oh my god. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right.
I'm in the middle of running on a treadmill, holding a phone, doing speech to text, and I'm just like,
I'm fucking crying. Just think if her hand came away and they made it come out of his nose. Oh god. Oh my god. Dude.
It's so fucking gross.
Oh, that's so fucking nasty.
Oh god. But yeah,
other than that, I give him a kudos for that. I give him a kudos for the grossness of that scene. Oh. And that's not even the end of it.
So yeah, she forces the testicle into his mouth, and Granny basically tells him to chew it, or she's gonna put another nail in the other foot. So he begins chewing, then immediately begins vomiting.
I would question you if you didn't.
Yeah, the bride is holding. No, it was the bride that was holding the hand over his mouth when all the vomiting and spewing happened. While everyone's asleep, he looks to quickly see if everyone is still asleep and if he's able to get the nail out, but notices Granny moving around in her chair, so he pretends to sleep and watches her walk over to OG Plankface, and it looks like she's about to fuck the dead Plankface's
That's
body.
what I said too.
And
I was like,
really...
is she straddling him? Because I thought he don't have no walls no more. Like, I'm pretty sure that fucking dead. Like, you can't get you have to die with a hard on. You can't just get a hard on when you're a day dead.
I was praying that she wasn't gonna fuck this corpse. Thankfully, she doesn't. She's just peeling off his mask that I guess was fused to his face. I guess it's all really gross.
Weird,
Again, this whole movie is just weird and gross. As she brings it over to the fire and rests it there, I'm assuming they're gonna get it nice and hot to put it on this dude's face so that it burns and fuses to Max's face, and then he can get into Plank face.
I thought she was gonna sew it to his face. That would have been fun.
Oh, that would suck so much more. He quietly watches as this is going on until he falls asleep, and in the morning, Bunny and the bride take the mask and go running through the woods.
The woods. And
I
then
didn't-
cleans it in a stagnant water, gross ass fucking
I
pond,
was-
like a ravine. What is that?
Yeah, I was really confused because like they're running around playing with this mask, and I'm like, isn't this like an important mask?
I feel like they were going to go to clean it, but they were two fucking morons, so they had to prance around in the wood with it. That's what it seems
We're
like.
dancing.
That's what they did. Look, that's what they look like. They were like, dumb.
Granny stays at the cabin while mixing up some mush on the fire. The other two
Some
girls,
mush on the fire.
the other two girls are running around the woods pretending to be Plank Face while dancing around in dirty ass underwear. Granny, meanwhile, is trying to clean Max's face, but with like the driest, dirtiest cloth I've ever seen on this planet. Then she goes and pours water.
That made me laugh too hard. Oh shit. Oh god.
I don't know what it is with Granny and just like dry stuff, you know?
Did you see the inside of the cabin?
Yeah. Like, well, because it's like
It's like all dusty and dirty and shit. That's what she lives in.
She has water. She pours like water that's been heated
How do you know
up
that's not piss?
because it was clear. So even if it was piss, it was obviously like cooked out, you know? So like she pours that over his wound because I'm sure she doesn't want it to get infected. But then she takes a dry, dirty cloth and like rubs his face. How is that supposed to get his face clean? It's you're not doing anything. You're just putting more dirt. It's I don't know, man.
It's like taking and rubbing dirt with dirt.
Back with the other girls, they're now playing and kicking water at each other in the stream and begin to wash out the mask. Back at the cabin, Granny ties his arms behind his back again and waits for the girls to return with the mask. But at the stream, the bride seems kind of agitated and like overly excited. Bunny hugs her, which seems to calm her down. It's again, all of this is really weird.
Vague.
It's just,
it doesn't make any sense.
It's like I don't get it. Like I was, again, like we see the cover and it's Plank Face with Bunny like hugging his leg, and then
So it kind of looks cultish, you know?
yeah, it seems cultish. It seems like maybe he has like a connection with Bunny and like maybe he's gonna be tortured by like Granny or something, and Bunny's the one that like comes and he's like, no, please don't hurt him. That
Yeah.
like maybe it's like she saw
like.
this and it's like she loves him, and then it's like you can see that the bride there is like overly excited and like agitated and like and like she comes over and hugs her and knows that that's like a soothing thing to do and calm down. So it's like, oh, maybe like Bunny, maybe like towards the end it'll just be Bunny and Plank Face. Maybe like at the end it ends up just being Max as the new Plank Face and just Bunny, but that's not the case. That's just she's just another chick that's there. After all that, the girls bring the mask back to Granny and she begins to rub hot mush inside the mask and then moves over to Max and places this mask on his face.
On his face.
It burns because you can hear the sizzle and like the craziest like whine.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It didn't sound human.
I don't remember if it was the sizzle and whine from like the heat fusing to his face, or if it was the sizzle and then him whining in pain.
Oh,
I don't
think
remember.
it was him. Oh, I definitely think it was him.
He ends up passing out from the pain, and the girls continue to fondle him, and then Bunny and the bride fall asleep on top of him.
Bunny and the bride.
Later that night, he wakes up with the mask fused to his face, but the old lady has removed the nail from his foot.
So now he gets to limp around with a fucking, not plank, a piece of bark.
Still in pain, still in shock, he lays back down as Bunny and the bride hold him lovingly on each side. Granny comes over and places a blanket over
They
them
now accept him.
as they fall back asleep. He wakes up the next morning, all alone in the cabin, no longer tied up. We can hear like odd humming off in the distance. I'm assuming it's the two girls, and then Max
I guess so.
begins to freak out when he can't remove the mask. Like it won't even budge.
Well, it's tarred to him.
But barely able to walk because, you know, his foot is almost 100% infected.
100.
He makes his way outside to be greeted by Granny and her shotgun. He is led over to Bunny and the bride, who are standing over OG Plankface's wrapped and burning body.
Trying to cremate him, which I don't think that it'll ever work that way. You need a certain
I don't think it'll ever
degree.
get hot enough.
Yes.
I think at this point, he kind of gets what the deal is. Like, he knows what game it is, so...
But it like sunk in at this point is what you're meaning.
It's
like
don't
you're not
even bother
gonna
fighting.
be getting away from... Yeah, like, you just accept this. This guy clearly didn't get away. You're not gonna get away.
But now, this would be That was the day he woke up at night, was fed nuts, vomited.
I'm telling you, it's only like 2 to 3
The
days.
next day, they did the mask and fell asleep. So would this be day 3?
Yeah, if it's day 3, this should be towards the end,
Right?
If not, yeah.
Because it was the midday he was captured. That same day he was captured, they fed him nuts.
Yes.
The next day, they
You haven't gotten
put the mask
to
on
them
his face.
fucking him.
No, because it's now day 2. They go down to the river, they clean the mask, they put the mask on him, he passes out, everyone falls asleep, and then this is now day 3, they're burning the body, right?
Okay.
So we're about 3 days in, I think.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
very hard to track.
Because this is also gonna come into like a complaint that we both have later. The 2 young girls make space for him as he slots himself in between them, and the bride holds his hand while Bunny caresses his chest, crying. I would say just keep doing what you're doing. Just play the game that they want you to play to get the hell out of there whenever the opportunity presents itself. We'll see if he actually does that, because later that night over family dinner, we finally see at least the mouth of Bunny as she lifts the mask up a little bit to eat.
She takes it gets off at one point.
The only one not eating is Max. He seems kind of like zomboed out, but the bride just goes over to him and tries to feed him.
He's in it. He's in it.
Max is not responsive.
Would
He's-
you be?
Yeah, he looks completely checked out to the point of like almost being comatose. But since he's
Being
not
shocked.
moving or speaking, pretty much doing anything, the bride drags him by the pants closer to her and then
And
begins
just
to undo his
Have
belt.
her way.
Yep,
violently.
she undoes his belt. He slowly tries to like push him away. That's the universal sign of no, stop, I don't want this. But Granny grabs her gun and aims it at him. With the shotgun in his face, the bride pulls his pants and underwear down, and there's his penis. It's now
It's
we're
out
seeing
there.
cock and balls.
Just cock and balls.
And then the bride starts blowing him. Now we don't see
cock and balls.
we don't see her actually blowing him. This isn't like a porn or anything.
No, it's suggested.
You do see her head bobbing up and down and the slurping.
Oh,
I'm assuming she didn't feel like thumbing it in, so she wanted to at least get it hard enough and then climbs on top of him. Taking off her dress, she climbs on top. He's still completely unresponsive. The bride starts grinding on him and everything, but I'm assuming he's losing his boner. So Granny pushes the bride off of him
and
then
just
starts
like
giving him
Max,
the roughest sandpaper hand
violent-
job. Oh my
like,
god.
Why would he want to be hard? Like, he looks
Yeah.
in pain.
It's a
Nobody-
really
no-
it's a really
oh.
violent hand job.
It's a violent
Like-
scene in itself.
Like, yeah, one he does not want. This whole time screaming at her, she finally begins spitting on her hand to finish the job. And then just as he's about to explode, Granny
What's her name?
tells the bride to
Pops
get
back
back on
on.
top. He finishes inside of her, and it's again all really gross.
It's
It's all
disgusting.
very, very gross.
The grit that must be in between them. Oh,
Because of the mask, you can't really see if Max passed out or if he just turned
just
away in
played
disgust.
dead.
Because you can't really see where the mask was positioned, where they fell. They didn't have enough light on it that you can't
it
see
was
his
like,
eye. But
yeah.
if you could see his eye and he just looked dead inside afterwards, I feel like
Oh, God.
that would have been like a more impactful moment for us
Yeah.
as viewers. The next day, a naked bride and naked Bunny take a naked Max, their new plank face, down to the river to wash themselves off. For people that are actively washing themselves off, they are still very dirty.
Like I said, it's a dirty ass. It was so gross.
What's more hilarious is this dude's cock and balls just square center of the frame the entire time. And it's a long shot. It's just like
oh, is it a long shot?
they are fucking just sitting on that shot. He's in the center, the 2 girls are on the side. It's like they may cut in a little bit to his face, but then they immediately cut
They
back
wanted
out.
to make sure the money
and
was
it's
being
just
made.
Tits, ass, cock, and balls just fucking everywhere. And for the love of God, the music in this film is fucking awful. None of it makes sense.
At least it sticks to character.
Bride notices that he's just completely disassociated and not cleaning himself, so they begin to clean him, and he just looks like a hurt puppy. There's a lot of peeing in this film. That night, everyone is sleeping, and Bunny decides that she wants to have sex with him. while he's sound asleep. She climbs on top of him and starts grinding away. He ends up waking up, throwing her off of him angrily.
And just like, fiercely, like, just bulldogging her.
Jumps on top of her, holding her down. She screams in his face. He screams back in her face.
Some Braveheart shit.
He rips her mask off, and then they begin to like wrestle fuck.
That was weird.
And then they just end up fucking, and then they go back to sleep. And when I was explaining this
like
scene
they're
to
a couple, like it doesn't make much sense.
Which, if you notice throughout the film, he enjoys fucking Bunny more than the bride.
Yeah,
so it's like, why?
I thought she was like
isn't-
doing a kind of a claim to him at some point, you know.
But that never happens. It's like it's like they keep like dipping their toe into something that like it could be, and then they go, nah, never mind. But I was explaining this scene to my wife, and I was like, yeah, and then they start like wrestle fucking. She's like, what's wrestle fucking?
What is wrestle fucking?
I was like, you know those weird porns where it's like
100% what it says.
An MMA ring, and it's a guy and a girl. They're like play wrestling for fucking. And she's like, oh. I was like, that's basically what they're doing. They're play wrestling.
To pin them is like you gotta pin them and make them like come. Like it's fucking stupid.
The next morning, all the ladies are eating breakfast, and after they see Max just willingly walk over and take the food and start eating it, they're ecstatic. He finishes eating. I think he's eating beans. He like stares at the can for a second and then gets up, walks over, gets dressed. He's putting on his pants, his shoes, like the whole nine.
Yeah, like it's like nothing happened.
I don't think he knows where he's going. They don't seem to care what he's doing.
Well, they didn't stop him.
In my mind, he hasn't been broken enough to not remember how to tie shoes, but he doesn't tie his shoes.
That's why I don't understand how he's so.
This would be probably day 4. He just opens the door and walks outside. The old lady is kind of confused, but not really worried. Also, I feel like somebody would have come across this cabin in the middle of the woods. This isn't like a shanty that was thrown up in a day. This is a cabin. This is a cabin-ass cabin. I feel like it took a while to build.
Forever.
Hunters know where this is. The surrounding area, they all know about it. It's just weird that like these people are living there, speaking their weird fucking Cajun home fucking shit, and no one's ever come across it. Like it's weird, because then it's like, oh well, maybe someone did come across it and then like they killed him. Oh, that's awesome. So what you're saying is, in these woods, a whole bunch of people have been going missing. Feds have never gone in
and
to check. You know, after like X amount of people disappear, the feds come in and be like, local PD, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, so we're gonna do, like, you know what I mean? And then if feds start disappearing, then the military is gonna come. There's like a whole process of like shit that has to happen. So I don't know. Anyway, he begins walking through the woods looking like he shit his pants. At this point, there's only like 30 minutes left of this movie, and not a whole lot has happened except for them like repeatedly sexually assaulting this guy.
That's it.
He finds himself on a ridgeline, and I don't know if it's the same ridgeline or at least the same view, but he's looking out into the sky. I'm assuming he's hoping to find his girlfriend or something. At the same time, the ladies are sitting out on the cabin steps looking for Plankface. I guess they figured that they broke him enough that if he leaves, he'd always come back.
Come back like a fucking dog.
But he manages to find his old campsite and an open can of food.
The beans.
Maybe after they took everyone, maybe they took like the food that they had there. Even though they've been eating like testicles and shit.
No, I think he started. Him and her started eating beans.
Yeah, which is why
I think he was
eating beans there, and he saw the can and was like, oh, and then went looking. But it's like, I'm sure they didn't bring like 2 cans of beans. I'm sure they brought more food. Yeah. So I'm assuming
that's a big ass bag of beans.
Like they took a bunch of stuff with them back to the cabin, but it's like all we've seen them eat so far is OG Plankface. So I'm like, where the fuck is the food that you've been hiding?
And whatever that fucking soup thing is, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. All this stuff, like his cook pot and like all that shit, the tent, everything is still at this campsite.
Yeah,
everything
like
except for his girlfriend. His girlfriend is gone. The rapist is gone.
Well, he's dead, I would think.
Yeah, but where are they?
Oh, no, they probably ate him.
He's sitting there hugging a can of beans, laying in the fetal position. He wakes himself up from a stupor. He's kind of been in since this whole thing started. He looks like he has his whole new resolve. But I don't know. I don't know if he's heading back to his car, if he's heading back to the family to kill them. Back at the cabin, the girls are sad, especially Bunny. Again, they're putting all this emphasis on Bunny, but not like explaining anything.
There's so much gaps
it's like,
involved in this
Bunny
movie.
is more sad than anyone else, and it's like, it's just weird.
I still want to know, is that the daughter? Is that the fucking sister? You have no idea.
Plankface is walking through the woods and comes to a road where a car stops, asking if he needs help. The next morning, all the ladies are cleaning themselves by the lake, and Bunny is excited to see that Plankface is back. He's covered in blood, carrying the body of the driver who stopped to help him.
Makes
I
sense.
wondered at this point why he gently placed him down instead of just plopping him
Dropping
down.
him. Maybe he still has.
I
some
realized that
humanity to him.
it was an actual person that they were putting down. He wasn't like throwing a
Oh,
mannequin
it wasn't
down.
a dummy.
It was the actual
Oh.
actor, so he had to like gently place him down.
That makes sense.
Bunny runs back to the house and grabs a gas canister. Meanwhile, the bride climbs on top of him and starts licking the dude's face. This girl will literally fuck anything. It just doesn't matter.
Ugh.
Before lighting him on fire, they cut off his cock and balls, and Plankface eats it willingly this time. Again, I want to fucking vomit. It's the crunch and pop.
Understand why
I
he was
fucking
good with
hate it. Fucking hate it so much. Granny lights the dude on fire while Plankface goes to have relations with the girls. Later that night, they're all eating fried corpse, and Bunny starts playing with her food. She's eating like the dude's arm, using it to like poke and slap Max. They go and have sex again, and it's just weird. How is like popping him in the face with a roasted corpse hand?
And
Like,
yeah,
I got a boner
it
now.
was-
Like, that's all right.
and it was like
You know?
weirdly playful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, you got me hard. Let's go.
Someone
It's like,
someone leaned into this one real hard. Like,
Yeah.
it was like.
That night, Granny calls Plankface over to her by the fire, and again, it's more of this dude's cock and balls. She shows him his driver's license and says "old ways," I think.
Yeah, it said old ways.
Again, I can't tell what any of these idiots are saying. He looks at it for a moment.
My subtitle said always.
He looks at it for a moment before throwing it into the fire. She then hands him money. He throws that into the fire, and I'm wondering if this is leading up to like them bringing his girlfriend in, who's still alive, and he has to like kill her as like a final test.
Yeah, the old
that, like,
ways
he's with
thing.
him or something. Granny begins to grossly cry out, "Family!"
No.
It'd be great if he would just speak English. Maybe teach them to speak, especially
Some
Granny.
English? So
Because he
she
speaks
had an
English.
idea? Oh yeah, he does.
But
He hasn't
instead
been
of
that far
speaking
gone
English-
with not being able to know, remember.
But like, instead of speaking English, he just speaks their gibberish. And it's fucking annoying.
Like they taught him it already and shit like that. Like what the fuck?
After he tells her that they are a family, she shows him a photo of him and his girlfriend. Maybe she's already dead. Cut to the morning, and Granny brings him an axe. Opening the shutters, the bride wakes up Bunny after tussling her hair. She goes for her bunny mask and gets really excited to see that the ear is apparently fixed, and at some point it was broken. Maybe it was broken during like the wrestle fuck, and
Probably
Plankface fixed it.
fixed it somehow.
I guess. I don't know. I don't remember it being broken, but I don't fucking know.
They didn't ever point it out or anything like that. So how would you know?
Well, I don't know, because it could have just been that I was way too like preoccupied staring at her tits that I didn't notice the mask get broken or something. Like, I don't know. She runs outside hugging Max before they lead him to a surprise. The surprise is his girlfriend, still very much alive. So again, I have no idea how much time has actually passed during this whole thing.
Yeah, like
But I
she's just
feel
been out
like-
there. No animals got her.
I feel like she would be in worse shape,
Yes.
right?
I feel like some
That-
sort of animals could have gotten her. On top of
Animals-
that, like no food for that long. At least he was
Animals,
eating
the
balls.
elements. She's clean. She has less
she
dirt
was
on her
really
than
clean.
anyone else. I was right. The last test of Are You With Us is he's gonna have to kill his girlfriend. I do like that we're now an hour and 23 minutes into an hour and 30-minute movie. When it started, the girls were covered up wearing all the same clothes that they were running around in.
And now they're a lot less.
There was a big chunk in the middle where they didn't even bother wearing clothes, and now towards the end, well, at the end, we're back to them wearing all the clothes again. Now, at the beginning of the movie, again, they're wearing all the same clothes. All of their like titties stayed inside the clothes. You notice, like, as they were running around, nothing fell out.
They never came out.
Now at the end, wearing the same clothes, they're running around and the tits are just like slapping themselves in the face and everything. They're not even staying in the clothes. I'm like, what? Why'd you even put them back in the fucking clothes if it's not gonna?
They apparently said we're gonna go a different direction for the rest of this.
Whatever. No one cares. It's titties. No one's gonna fucking complain about seeing titties. Stacy wakes up from her beauty sleep and recognizes Max right away and cries out for him to do something. We're at the end of the film. I paused the movie and I'm thinking to myself, I want to know how this is going to go. He kills his girlfriend and goes back with the family, or he kills Granny and the bride, lets his girlfriend go, and stays with Bunny, or kills all of them and leaves with the girlfriend.
And leaves with the girlfriend to go back to a hospital or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Where
then we
like
find him in a psych ward. That would have been a cool ending.
Yeah, but because the mask is coming off anytime soon, he lets his girlfriend go and stays in the hospital.
Yeah.
As soon as I unpaused it, he has Bunny and the bride hold Stacy in place. He begins to speak fucking weird to them, even though he can fully speak English. And then fucking cracks the axe down on her head, and they start eating her brain.
Yeah, and like putting her hand in her brain, and like,
yeah,
the sounds were not flattering.
It cuts back to the night before, and we see that Plank Face made a decision. He threw the photo of him and Stacy into the fire, and that is the end of Plank Face. Anthony, what are your final thoughts?
If we had more of a script, this would have been better. I would have liked, I would like some questions answered, then it would have come together better. But other than that, I mean, it was a fucking weird movie.
I like the movie. I don't love it, but I definitely don't hate it.
It's definitely not the worst. It's just, it doesn't make much sense.
Before I talk about things that I like, I want to talk about things that I dislike. There were so many cross dissolves in this film. No match cuts, no jump cuts, like just cross dissolves fucking everywhere. Like they've never even heard of the other stuff.
Maybe they were
like you said, the film needed dialogue. Everything was just nudity, grunting girls, maniacally laughing, and Cajun speak. Like that's all that it was. You didn't understand a goddamn thing that was going on. If anything, we needed dialogue, especially from Max. He's our whole conduit into this. And less than halfway into the film,
how to speak.
He's just grunting.
If there's anyone there,
how long was he captured for? 3 days? 4 days?
I would have liked that. Would have liked to know.
But they haven't tortured him enough for him to go like that much into like this animalistic beast. It doesn't even make sense. Like at the end, when they show us Sarah again, she looks great. And that's weird.
She doesn't look affected. She doesn't look upset.
She's been beaten, raped, dragged through the woods, tied to a tree for however long this is supposed to be.
Pretty damn fucking good.
Left out in the elements. She looks like they let her go to a Hotel 6, take a nap and a great shower. A nice hot shower. If she was left out in the woods, wouldn't they have been torturing her like they tortured him?
Wouldn't the elements, and then on top of that, animals? There's no animals that would come up to her?
Well, I'm sure that whole area, the animals just know when they stay away, otherwise they end up dead.
They find them dead from these weirdos.
But yeah, I just wish we had like a sense of time, like how much time passed. Because I'm counting 3 or 4 days. Sarah looks too good for someone that's been left out in the cold for 4 days.
For that many days.
And then he like emotionally caved into this family in 4 days. They barely tortured him.
And I want to know what, maybe it was all the bullying.
Maybe. So I just feel like it probably should have ended either they should have shown more of a connection earlier on with him and the bunny, or at the end he kills the family and leaves with Stacy. That just makes more sense than, oh, he's been with these people for 4 days and they keep tugging on his dick, so he's gonna stay with them. It's like, what? Stacy tugs on his dick.
Yeah.
So like what? And she's clean.
But maybe he likes grandma getting aggressive. I don't know.
God. He likes those sandpaper hand jobs. What I did like was the cinematography. That was really nice. They utilized like great locations. The costumes were pretty good. Actors were competent for what we really got from them. I like that the entire time we were wondering how much of Max is left under the mask, and at the end we see none of it's left. My only problem is, of course, that he forfeited his entire sense of self entirely too quickly.
Way too quickly.
And all they did was put a nail in his foot and fed him a testicle. And then he was like, and had sex with you. Yeah, and then had wrestle sex with him after thumbing it in. But yeah, this is probably a 3 out of 5.
It's
better than the 2s.
Yeah.
You know, that we've gotten, but it's definitely not a 4. But it's like if it's free somewhere, I'd say, Dad, watch it. See boobies. If you want to see dick and horror,
dick,
and you don't feel like seeing
a lot of dick swinging and
because I don't, unless it's like a trauma film, I don't really see a whole lot of like dong flopping around. I think like the first time I watched a horror movie and there was just like dick and balls right there was 28 Days Later.
Oh yeah, but he was on the fucking okay. I remember that scene.
That's like I was like, oh, good for like they're fucking. Everyone always shows tits and ass.
And that
and
was
it's like
old.
they're just showing like So it's like, all right, like if you want to see dick and horror, fucking plank face. There's half the film is just this dude's junk in the middle of
Junk all
frames.
over the way, yeah.
But that is
Trunks
it
around.
for tonight. So you're going 3 out of 5 too.
Yeah. Plank face.
Plank faced. Okay, so next week's film is Eradication. If I remember correctly, Eradication is your pick, and it has the thumbnail box art that invokes what is it? The Crazies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, it very much has that. But thank you everybody very much for hanging out with us at the Spooky Horror Show. Remember, you want to support us, subscribe on YouTube. We're also on TikTok and Facebook and all podcast services. Links will be in the description. There'll also be a QR code somewhere. But thank you everybody very much, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Later.